Hey everyone, welcome to another episode on Power BI case study. In this video, we are going to return a value in a table from the previous month rather than the current one. Before we understand more about the data as well as the problem, keep in mind that you can go to the description and use the timestamps there to navigate to different sections in the video. You may also refer to the pinned comments for the formula as well as the concepts used today. Now, let's jump over to our data view and see that we have two different tables today. The first one contains our data, and then the other one would be the calendar that we use in Power BI. Here in my data table, I have two columns. The first column is a date column, followed by the second value column. This format is often seen in many corporate settings where the values can correspond to either sale, cost, or different inventory counts. Now, our data table is connected to our calendar table by the date columns. Now, these two date columns, since they are connected, I can come over to my visual view and bring in the date from my calendar table and the value from my data table. Let's say I only want to look at the month. And now it is showing me that in August, the sum of value, let's suppose it's a sale value today, is 6, and then September is 15, and in October is 24. Today, what we want to solve is, I want all of the value to go up by one column so that I can calculate how much has the sale changed by the month in terms of ratio. Let me just quickly jump back into my data view and immediately solve the problem so that you can have a better idea. Okay. Now, the first thing that we need to do is to return a reference column. In this case, I'm going to call it reference date column inside my data table. The formula we are going to use is end of month. This will return the end of month of the date by the number of months. By the specified number of months. In this case, it's going to be from the previous month, which is -1. When I do that, and let's change our data type to date, we see here that for every August data, it will return to the last day of the last month, which is July 31st. For the September case, it will return the August and the last day of August. For the October case, it will also have the same pattern, returning the last day of the last month, which is September 30th. This is the first step. The second step is to establish a relationship in between the created reference date column and date column. Let's do that, and we will notice that the line that is added is dotted. This means that the relationship is currently not active, but it is important that we establish the relationship nonetheless because it will assist us in making the next measure, which is crucial for our answer. This visual, I'm going to go over to Home and click New Measure. Now, this new measure I will call Previous Month Sale. This previous month sale will use the formula calculate, which wants to return an expression followed by a filter. The expression will be the usual sum that we used previously, and it is going to sum up the data table value column. But in the filter, I will specifically use another formula, use relationship, and call the relationship that we just established, which is between my data table reference date column followed by my calendar table date column. Now let me bring this filter to a second line so that it's easier to see, which is the third line. Okay, now it is a measure, so we cannot immediately see what would happen. But what if I bring in my measure into my table now? Oops, sorry. Let me drag it over to my table. Okay, now Let me also increase the value so that it's easier for all of us to see. We see here that the August value moved up by 1 month, the September value moved up by 1 month, and the October value also moved up by a month. But it doesn't really make sense for it to be a previous month's sale because this column will effectively be the next month's sale. So we can just simply go back to our reference date and change the -1 to 1 instead, which will be the end of month of the next month. Every case where it is August for the date, the reference date will be the September 20th, the end of next month. Another example would be our October, which sees us having November 30th as the reference date. I don't need to change anything. Now, if I come back to my table, we see here that the August moved down by a month. September also moved down by a month, and then October also moved down by another month. Okay, let's quickly recap. Initially, we have a data, and in our data, we have a date and a value column. The value column would, of course, sum up according to the date column, which we have done initially by first having a relationship between my calendar and data table, as shown by this clear and straight line here. And it is able to return for us the first section of the table, which has the value corresponding to their respective month. But now, I want to calculate the previous month's sale for every case. The month previous to September would be August, and August has a 6th sale, so I want it to move down by a column. The same pattern is to repeat across the board. So it's a 3-step process. First, I will create a reference date column, which sees me using end of month formula, so that I can use it to reference the next month. Then, I would go into my model view and establish the relationship in between my newly created column as well as the main date reference column in calendar. Afterward, all I have to do is to create a new measure. So let's have a look at the new measure again. This new measure will still will still sum up the data value, except it is using a different filter, which is this use relationship formula. We are going to invoke the relationship that we previously established. You can only invoke relationship that you have established, and even if it's inactive. You cannot use relationship that you haven't established in the model view. The relationship must at least be inactive. Afterwards, I will simply bring in my created measure, and now we see, just as we have done before, all of the values move down by a month, and every month accurately captured the sale from the previous months. That's all for this video. Remember, you can refer to the description for timestamps to revisit different sections in the video, as well as look at the pinned comments for all of the formulas used today. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.